Do you understand how racist it is to think that all white people are racist?
Huh?
Supposed to be Jesus? Is that your whole thing?
I am Jesus. Thank
Oh,
you, everybody.
that's awfully heretical, but okay.
Because crack
Despite,
cocaine
So many black fathers were being sent to prison!
and it was only black communities doing cocaine. It wasn't Hispanic communities or Asian American communities or white American communities doing crack cocaine.
Demographics for those communities.
The cocaine
Don't just
epidemic.
focus on black single motherhood.
Are you triggered, by the way? So you believe in black-only graduation ceremonies at Harvard?
If they want that, sure.
So
why do I care? Why does it bug me?
Well, it should bug you that we're resegregating parts of the population.
There's a difference.
That people marched in this. What's the difference?
White people say that black people have to be separate.
What's the difference of skin color? What's the difference between a white person and a black person?
Tell you.
Tell me what the difference between a white person and a black person.
I don't know. I'm not.
There's no difference. They're both human beings. There's only one race, the human race. Do they teach it here?
Not yet, but also.
Okay, so now you're proving my point. If you're studying economics and they're not teaching Thomas Sowell, you're not getting an education, you're getting an indoctrination. Just so we're clear, blacks make up about 12% of the American population. More specifically, black men, 6% of the American population. They're responsible for 60% of the murders. That's a thought crime. You have 6% of the American population doing 60% of the murdering. And yet white people are the problem? No. It's black privilege, and I'm not afraid to talk about it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Say about the people that regret their transition, that wish they could go back and not do it when they were 14. Does that trouble you?
I mean, not really. I mean, a lot of people regret different things.
Well,
I mean, people
but then
regret
shouldn't they
tattoos,
just
that's
wait till, I don't know,
permanent
they're 18 or 19 to chop their parts off, not when they're 14?
choice. A lot of numbers of people you are talking about did wait to that age. Again, you're picking like.
Well, that makes it even worse.
Yeah.
That makes it shouldn't be illegal until you're like 25.
Why is that?
Well,
Do you believe the state should be involved in a Medicare practice?
Do
like
I
that?
think the state should protect children? Yes.
No. They're
No?
not talking about children at that point. You're talking.
Well,
about
no, hold on. But the focus is children. Do I think the state has a responsibility to protect 14-year-olds against companies that stand to make billions of dollars chopping kids' parts off? Okay.
Power structures, my dude.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So then how did Asian Americans climb up the power structure?
That has nothing.
No, can anyone explain that to me? Because I can't.
Western values are superior. Of course they are.
What are Western values?
That's my problem.
What do you consider Western values?
Free speech, separation of powers, consent to the governed, constitutional government, independent judiciary.
Okay, why don't we talk about the prison industrial complex?
Why do people go to prison?
For breaking the law.
There you go. So if there's too many people in prison, they commit too many crimes. There's other factors that play into crime, fatherlessness and other things.
And why does that occur?
Why is there fatherlessness? Because we subsidize single motherhood in our country, and we have since the 1960s. So let me ask you a question. So if people decide to do drugs, whose fault is that?
Our decisions are always rested when the
let's
material
play this
conditions that
out.
we're living in.
If was right here and I took it, is it the person who dropped it there or my fault if I took it?
I think the question of fault
Wrong.
is the wrong
My
one.
fault. It's my fault if I take it.
But
See,
what
I
are they gonna do
believe
to take it?
I believe that people are responsible for their own decisions, not society.
We've already overly prioritized in society. I'll prove it to you. There is institutional black privilege in society today. And no one wants to say it out loud. Blacks can get into college with lower test scores. They get more acting contracts. They're literally in every other television commercial, right? They're allowed to, literally, if a white person says a certain word, you could be completely terminated from public life, right? And so we spent trillions of dollars post-Great Society, post the Civil Rights Act paired with the Great Society. Did any of that help? No, actually, blacks got poorer on average. And so before the Great Society, 75% of blacks growing up in America had a father and a mother in the home. Now that number is anywhere between 20 to 25%. So America got significantly less racist. We spent trillions of dollars in our urban corridor. We implemented affirmative action in our government hiring practices, in our corporate hiring practices, in our college admissions. And yet blacks on average are poorer than they were in proportion to the 1960s. What changed? And the answer is that we are not confident, we're not honestly courageous enough to empower black voices to say, hey, you have to fix the problem in your own communities. It's not about white guilt or white pandering. It's about how about you stay with the woman you impregnate? How about you stop embracing gangster rap culture? How about you stop listening to music that glorifies the worst part of society? And people are afraid to say this. And Thomas Sowell wrote an entire book about it. And the affirmative action creates race resentment is what ends up happening. And while I acknowledge that, yes, of course there were laws that were unjust in the past, We've already lived under the biggest reparations program in the history of modern society, and it's been an abysmal failure. You want to know what true liberation would look like? Black America taking responsibility for their actions and doing the 3 to 4 things that are necessary to succeed in America. Getting married before you have kids, graduating from high school, get a job, any job, and not committing crimes. This is what drives me nuts about the looting stuff, is that people say, well, it's just a matter of, it's a matter of survival. How about you stop acting like a criminal? How about you stop stealing stuff and we justify it? And the more that we do that, the more we are building a baseline of an acceptance. And here's the thing, just so we're clear, blacks make up about 12% of the American population, more specifically black men, 6% of the American population. They're responsible for 60% of the murders. That's a thought crime. You have 6% of the American population doing 60% of the murdering. It's a great question. So here's what's amazing, is despite the fact that Asians have harder job getting into college, harder job getting high, Asians are like the wealthiest group in America by far, despite all the things that are thrown. And you might ask the question, why? Well, it's because Asian Americans stay loyally married far more than any other ethnic group. They prioritize education, and I don't want to overly generalize, but Asian moms don't put up with their kids committing crimes. Am I right? Right? A bunch of Asians looting? That dog does not hunt in the Korean American community or the Chinese American community. So yeah, there's like strong social fabric and cultural fabric that say it's not acceptable to engage in this sort of behavior. So no, I don't think we should ask for any special treatment. I think this, what is the goal? The goal is to do our best to try to create a society that values meritocracy and values work ethic and things you can change, not things you can't change. Thank you, man. God bless you.
Check it out.
The Constitution was written to benefit only white people. Why is it that Asian Americans are the richest people by race in America right now?
Because the Constitution wasn't written to make people rich.
Was the Constitution written in Korean?
The Constitution was written to make people own slaves.
Yeah, yet Korean Americans and Vietnamese are actually benefiting the greatest from this American experiment.
Actually, in California, as a direct result of Asian success, there were laws passed that stopped Asian Americans, or Asians period, Asian immigrants, from being able to become citizens or own land.
Chinese
as a direct
Exclusion Act,
result
you don't recall
of
history
Asian
lessons?
success. So no, like structurally there have been many roadblocks.
So you're proving my point precisely?
No, I'm
She's
not.
like trying to make a point.
So your point is that we were racist against Asian Americans and now they're the richest in America, so they went through a vast time of inequities and they rose above it and they're much richer per income and wealth than white Americans.
No, that happens because Americans realized that they f***ed up and they lost all of the labor that was going to be possible for people to work on farms in California in order to exploit the land that was in California. There was no way for them to have people to work there, and that's why they brought immigrants back. That's why.
Social program was designed.
Literally built on our backs.
That again, swearing and saying things like that doesn't make your argument any more valid. But
okay, but it helps me take out a little bit of my anger.
that's fair.
Which is valid for me to do.
Then if it was rigged for a specific group of people, Asian Americans are the richest by race. The second are Indian Americans, people from India. And the third would be white Americans.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah, so how is why is that?
How do you feel about phrenology?
What are you saying about racial inequality then on the other side?
So why? No, but explain to me why that is.
Okay,
I could tell you why it is though.
Maybe the top 1 or 5% are the richest. What about the global South? What about the poverty? What about the lowest?
What about okay, so let's talk about
the lowest 50%? What are
in America
their,
or globally?
Yeah, no, in America. And globally, as well
Okay.
as globally. What's their racial background?
Well,
What's the racial demographic of that? Mostly people of color, not white people.
But the Asian Americans are at the top of the socioeconomic ladder relatively.
A very small number.
No, in the aggregate. In the aggregate. If you look at the way the data is compiled and presented to us, they are the richest per capita group by race in America. Why? Because over the last 50 years, Asian Americans graduated from high school in record numbers. They did not commit crimes.
Because we're smarter than you. Sorry.
Oh, okay. That's a racist argument you just made.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into eugenics, but you just said you're smarter. I don't think that. I don't think any race is smarter.
For other races that haven't done what you're describing.
Because
okay,
let me. So the two groups that are poorest by race in America are Native American Indians and African Americans. We've done the most to try to help them over the last 50, 60 years. We have the Bureau of Native American Affairs in the federal government. We spent $22 trillion in the federal government trying to help Black America, and Black America is poorer today than before we tried to start to help them. $22 trillion.
Racism that just exists in the system.
Okay, so your argument, institutional racism. My argument is failed policies that Lyndon Baines Johnson, a bitter and committed racist, you and I will both agree, and a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat who didn't want to sign the Civil Rights Act, passed the Great Society, which clustered.
Do you think JFK was going to sign the Civil Rights Act?
Well, he wanted to before he was.
He was certainly not going to.
So you're right. The Democrats were opposed to it. You're right. The Northeast Democrats.
LBJ was definitely for it because he was from South Texas.
So what did he call the Great Society bill?
Oh no, LBJ was a racist because he was an old white man.
Are all white people racist?
I would say that I think white people have an implicit bias. I think white people have an implicit bias.
Do you understand how racist it is to think that all white people are racist?
We don't experience systematic racism. We don't experience racism when we try and
Okay.
Power structures.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So then how did Asian Americans climb up the power structure?
That has nothing.
I just did that.
No, can anyone explain that to me? Because I can't.
I'll explain. Most Asian Americans here, okay? You said Native Americans, Black Americans.
Are the two poorest by race?
I know.
That's
what
inarguable.
keeps them in common, okay?
What keeps them in common?
They've been here for a while.
Okay, so you know what keeps them in common?
Yeah.
They also get the most government benefits per capita than any other group in America, because the way government programs are.
That's a symptom, not a cause.
No. And you can go to almost a direct date. Black America is poorer today than before we started helping Black America. The welfare programs.
By helping even by desegregating, I don't think that's much help.
Okay, so how about this? The Black single motherhood rate in year 1964 was 22%. Now it's 74%. How on earth does that happen? It happens because we subsidized single motherhood through the 70s, 80s, and 90s by saying if you get married, you lose your government benefits.
Birth control for lower income people. That's why.
Then why is it only their community, the Black community, that saw a spike in the single motherhood rate?
Because they don't have the same access to it because they've been written out of those laws.
But weren't Asian Americans written out of the laws in the 1940s and 50s?
No, because they are not Black.
Oh, okay, so it's only Black people that experienced a tough 20th century.
No, I'm talking about Black people that were specifically written out of these laws.
Asian Americans were written out of laws in the 1940s. We put Asian Americans in internment camps.
I understand.
So what you could.
That?
I'm sorry?
You did that?
Well, California Democrats did that in the 1940s under the direction of Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Switched positions on those ideas. Did you take U.S. history?
Yeah, I did. That is one of the biggest lies ever taught in U.S. history, and we could talk about that. So. Democrats have always been about control and always been about power. That is the continuity. Republicans have always been about freedom. The Republican Party was founded in 1860 as an anti-slavery... Freedom for all people. The Republican Party was founded as an anti-slavery party for rights of all Americans in 1860, founded in Ripon, Wisconsin, and it has not changed. It has always been about the equality and freedom of all people. The Democrat Party has always been about division.
What do you think about the war on drugs that the Republican
No, I
Party
actually would have more sympathy with you about decriminalizing marijuana and the war on drugs. So. Yeah, I know it's funny to believe in freedom, but
How come whenever we bring up something,
drugs? How is that about freedom?
I'm sorry.
But Reagan was one of the biggest proponents of the war on drugs. How is that freedom? How is that pro-freedom?
Again, it was a bipartisan agreement, but I would agree. I think that's a valid point.
how come every single thing?
I think it's Well, I mean, I know it might amaze you to say that I actually said you made a valid point that Republicans have been hypocrites on the war on drugs over the last 30, 40 years.
But then can you also recognize that the war on drugs disproportionately hurt people of color, and that's one of the reasons why they haven't experienced the economic gains that you say everybody should have experienced?
So how big of a reason do you think that contributed to the rising single motherhood rate in urban communities?
I mean, if the dad's in jail, then
So why is it only their community that saw the spike in single motherhood rate?
Because
Despite
So many Black fathers were being sent to prison!
and it was only Black communities doing cocaine. It wasn't Hispanic communities or Asian American communities or white American communities doing crack cocaine.
Demographics for those communities.
The cocaine
Don't just
epidemic.
focus on Black single motherhood.
Are you triggered, by the way?
We've all seen you be triggered on YouTube as well, so don't act like yelling and being upset is something independent to people on the left.
Well, I get yelled at more than that.
Dude,
But anyway.
Congress showed a 100 to 1.
But let me ask you a question. The crack cocaine epidemic in the 1980s hit all communities. It hit the Black community the worst, but it hit all communities.
Yeah, so
Correct?
it hit all communities, but the black community the worst. Okay, so how come Congress threw it a 100-to-1 sentencing disparity?
No,
with,
again, you're gonna
crack
find
cocaine
you're gonna find sympathy with me in the drug law argument, but you're not gonna find sympathy is that we continually subsidize through these welfare programs and then broken public schools. We can get into that, which is a complete relationship with the Democrat Party and the cartel, which is public sector teacher unions, that does not allow good teachers to be paid more and bad teachers to be fired. Yes, the public sector teacher union is a cartel.
Okay. So you're saying teachers are paid too much?
I'm sorry?
You're saying teachers are paid too
No,
much?
teachers should be paid more and bad teachers should be fired. Under the current way the tenure laws are written and the agreement between the state government of Texas or the state government of Kansas and the public sector teacher unions, bad teachers cannot be fired. It's nearly impossible to fire
Why don't we talk about
them.
police unions?
Who
Police
is
unions
the
are cartels.
education system in Texas?
Democrats.
Who has been in power for the last 50 years in Texas?
Well, Republicans, just so you know, understand your history, Texas became a red state around like 88. So it was mostly Democrats that built these. So it was Lyndon Baines Johnson that was a Democrat.
Daddy.
Kay Bailey.
Daddy.
Wait, it's funny. So by the way, so what did he call the Great Society Act since you call him Daddy? He called it he called it the N-word bill. He was a bitter and committed racist.
I know he was a racist, but we still got these things through.
You mean the things that kept Black America permanently poor and kept an entire part of the American population without hope? That's something you're proud of?
I'm not an African American person, so I can't speak on that behalf.
But you can look at data.
What other buzzwords?
I don't think you are either, so I don't know if you can speak
But I
on
mean,
that.
like what data do you have to?
It's basically a law for an officer to pull me over and ask for my papers when I've never even been to Mexico.
Okay, well, I think people should be asked for their papers regardless of the skin
Okay,
color.
so then we go. Here's white privilege.
Why is that white privilege?
Okay, here we go.
How's that white privilege?
Here we go. Who are they going to ask for their papers? Me or you?
I get asked for papers all the time
No,
when I
you
get
don't.
pulled over. Yeah, well, I can show you my pile of
Do you
driver's
get asked
tickets.
to prove that you're a citizen of the United States?
Hold on a second. First of all, I get asked for my driver's license all the time when I get pulled over. In fact, every time I get pulled over, I get asked for my driver's license, okay? So, but here's the one thing. Hold on. Do you really think that you're being pulled over just because of the color of your skin?
Dude, it's happened many times.
Hey, guess what? I get pulled over too.
You're never gonna know it because you don't look like me, man.
Wait, hold
You're
on.
never gonna have to know my struggles.
Wait, so, I mean, this is the problem. I'm just going to give you a piece of advice. Honestly, you complimented me and Candace Owens. You're looking at the world as a victim. Okay? You're looking at the world as if there's systemic racism and the evil white man that's trying to crush you. It's a lie. It's a lie that is designed to keep you down. It's a lie that is designed to try and disempower you. That truth is objective or subjective. Do you believe in absolute truth? Sure. Okay, so if you believe in absolute truth, shouldn't we have absolute terms of what a infant-bearing or infant-birthing person is, otherwise known as a woman? No. Okay, so let me ask you this a different way, I suppose. So if anyone can identify anything at any time, correct?
Anyone can identify
As a woman or a man, you can just choose at any time, right?
gender. Well,
Sure.
gender identity isn't switching genders all the time. It just depends. Like,
But that's your position, right? That's fair to say? That you could change your gender?
my position is that you should accept people's gender identity, and you shouldn't try to shame them out
So
of it.
let me ask you, should we accept people that think they're younger than they actually are? Because that's a mental condition where people say, I identify as an 8-year-old, but they're really 50. Should we accept? The border crossings were down to record lows. Now they're to 10 to 15,000 a day. So you can't possibly say they're the same.
Sure.
So Tom Homan, who was Barack Obama's border chief, 30 years in the position, said Donald Trump was the best on the border of any president he ever served under, right? So you can't compare those two. On the economy, everyone would here agree the economy was better under Donald Trump than Joe Biden. Everyone would agree. They would say that higher wages, prices were more affordable, the economy was more stable, period. On wars, how many new wars started under Donald Trump?
None.
How many under Joe Biden?
I forget.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to even count. I mean, you have Gaza, Israel, Iran, you have Ukraine, Russia, you have Yemen against Saudi Arabia. Under Donald Trump, no new wars, period, globally, across the planet. It's never happened before in 30, 40 years, so you can't equate the two.
Black-only dormitories? Sure. You do? Okay. That's resegregation. You realize that?
No, I think if black people want to do that, we should allow them to because they have to face a...
Well, then would you support white-only dormitories?
No.
Why?
Because pretty much the school is white only. Pretty much every dormitory is white only.
Looking around, I'd say it's a more diverse campus than just being a white-only
If
campus.
black people want, yeah.
So you believe in black-only graduation ceremonies at Harvard?
If they want that, sure. Why do I care? Why does it bug me?
Well, it should bug you that we're resegregating parts of the population.
There's a difference.
That people marched in this. What's the difference?
White people say that black people have to be separate.
What's the difference of skin color? What's the difference between a white person and a black person?
tell you.
Tell me what the difference between a white person and a black person.
I don't know. I'm not.
There's no difference. They're both human beings. They're
like
one race, the human race.
They're treated differently.
How are they treated differently? Give me one piece of evidence. What can a black person not do in America that I can do?
They get treated differently by the police, and I've seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though the data shows that a black person...
Data can be used to lie.
Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I'm just curious about your stance on college as a scam, because I feel like, according to the Hamilton Institute, people who get bachelor degrees over a total lifetime earnings will earn over $1 million more than those who don't. And also, I feel like college is an important place for people to like go learn valuable life lessons. And also, it's good to have like a balanced society, because then you're gonna get artists, you're also gonna get architectures, you're gonna get engineers, you're gonna get all sorts of different people that we need in society. Because like, what's the point in living if we don't have writers or artists, you know? So I just want to get your take on that.
The question is, did the best writers learn to write in college? Probably not. No. The best writers are gifted writing, and they learn to write by writing. And I would just argue that this kind of holistic view you get, for example, what are you studying? Can I ask?
Economics.
Okay, so what do you think of Thomas Sowell?
I actually really like him. I bought his book, Basic Economics.
Great.
He's one of the first economists I ever
Do they
really
teach
looked
it
at.
here?
Not yet, but also...
Okay,
for like
so now
1
you're proving
year.
my point. If you're studying economics and they're not teaching Thomas Sowell, you're not getting an education, you're getting an indoctrination. Supposed to be Jesus? Is that your whole thing?
I am Jesus. Thank you, everybody.
That's awfully heretical, but okay.
Well, I heard you kept saying my name, so I wanted to show up. You know,
Okay.
I'm busy trying to save the planet from this apocalypse going on. You know what I mean? Jesus hates Christ, but you can just call me Josh. All right, why don't you ask me the questions? I'm sure you have plenty of them.
Okay, what's the Hebrew word for father?
Man, you know, let me tell you something. Abba.
I'm sorry?
Abba.
That's the Greek word for father.
Yeah, Greek, you know, whatever. Point I'm trying to say is this,
Yeah,
man.
you don't even make a good Jesus.
Whatever.
What language did Jesus speak?
Aramaic.
Okay, tell me one thing
But
in
you have
Aramaic.
to understand, man, I have to come here to speak to you now. You don't speak Aramaic, otherwise you and me would be speaking Aramaic.
Oh, okay,
I have to
right.
speak this kind of dumbed down stuff for
The
you.
enemy has come to lie, steal, cheat, and destroy. What did Jesus say?
I said love your neighbor.
Wrong.
And how is that working out, by the way?
The enemy has come to lie,
I'm pretty sure I
steal...
said love your
hold on a
neighbor,
second. You're not even a good
love
Jesus. It's
God,
one of the most.
and love
It's one of the
yourself.
most popular verses in the Bible. John 10:10. The enemy has come
I
to
didn't
lie,
write the
steal, cheat,
Bible.
and destroy.
Who wrote that thing anyways?
I have
I did
come
not
to
write
give
the
life and
Bible.
life more abundantly. Okay, so you don't even know the scriptures, and you're pretending to be Jesus. But tell me why you're here.
I am Jesus, and I didn't write the scriptures. I lived them. And the
But you
main
can't
thing
even
I want
remember
to
what
tell
you
you is
said?
this: I said love your neighbor and love everybody. That's
Yeah.
something that you guys really need to figure
Well,
out.
hold on a
And I
second.
know I got some of my fan club
Let's
here.
hold
with
on a
the-
second. Hold
First,
on. What are those two verses?
My name was
Love your
Yeshua. Let's
love your
skip
neighbor as yourself. Where is that in the Bible?
I don't know. I didn't write
Yeah,
it.
Leviticus 19. Hold on.
I didn't write the Bible.
I thought you're Jesus.
I'm Jesus.
You know
it's
the Torah,
about
right?
me, not by me.
Hold on a
Look,
second.
The point is this, my
Hold on.
friend. I
Jesus,
said love
Jesus
your
was a-
neighbor and love
you're
everybody. I don't
backpedaling
know
so fast because you don't even know the Torah
I'm
as a
saying the
pretend
same
Jesus.
thing I was saying
Hold
the
on a
first
second.
time. You see, nobody believed me the first time I was here, and then you fucking crucified me.
love-
I was just trying to say this, man. Love everybody. Love your neighbor. Stop killing
But
everybody.
you don't even know
and
the verse.
Genocides are bad. How about that? You
Yeah,
want to put that in the Bible? You can add that
I
as
agree.
well.
So, okay, so you want to talk
stop
about
killing people who are just sitting there. That would be probably
are
a
you
good
trying
idea.
to connect with Israel Hamas? Is that your thing?
Pretty
or-
much the whole world at this point. We got a lot of issues. Kendrick, Drake, and what else is going on around here? Look,
Okay, so
I will
wait,
say
hold on.
this: they
But-
not like us, and this is pretty obvious. But I will. Look, the point I'm trying to make to you. And what was your name again? Charlie? Chadley?
I thought you're Jesus and everything,
Chadwick?
man.
No, man, I'm too busy. I got an actual job to
Oh,
do.
yeah, so you believe in a God who's too busy,
If I were
not
like
an
you, I'd be able to
omnipotent,
kind of
omniscient
sit
God, yeah.
here and pretend that
You're the
important.
worst Jesus
But
I've ever seen,
I'm the
like-
only Jesus, and I will
You're
say
the
this:
only Jesus,
I am
right.
the only one. Matter of fact, and I live in all of you, and thank you for making time for me. By the way, it's been a while. Look, I would say this: if you really are a fan of mine and you're in my fan club, just be a nicer person, man.
Well,
Just
where does it say to be
just-
nice in the Bible?
It's pretty much all over
No,
there.
hold on,
That
name-
was kind of
what
the
does the
point.
word nice mean in Latin?
The point I was trying to
It means
make
ignoramus. Where
is
does
to
it say?
love,
Wait, in the
love.
Can you tell me the Ten
Amor.
Commandments?
How about
Let's go
amor?
through the Ten Commandments. Want to do it together? Since you're Jesus, let's go. What are they?
don't be an asshole. Number one.
Okay, hold on.
How about number 1 through 10? Don't be an asshole.
Wait,
That
hold
would be
on.
a great
Actually,
one.
that's not one of the Ten
pretty much
Commandments.
summed it up.
I am the Lord that you delivered you from Egypt. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall have no other graven images. You shall never take the Lord's name in vain. You shall honor your mother and father, so may live long in the land in which you are in. You shall honor the Sabbath day and keep it holy. You shall not murder. You shall not steal. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife. You shall not covet your neighbor's
house.
house.
You shall 1 and 2 and 3. We got a
you
sinner
don't like
soul.
the Decalogue
We got
because
a
you don't
sinner.
know the
Give it up
Decalogue.
for the
Okay.
sinner, everybody. Give it up for the sinner,
All right.
everybody.